Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse on the LCC Network for week 13 of the off season. With us today, like always, we got Isaac!
Oh yeah. Bush.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I'm just kidding. I don't drink that garbage. What's up, guys?
It's so stupid.
Oh, and we got this guy, this bum Jameson. What's going on, man?
Yeah, this bum. Well, now I don't have a beer can to open, so I don't have anything. I'm just like coming in normal. I can't follow that. Yeah. So this week,
Damn right.
this week we've got an announcement. Actually, we don't have any announcements, so that's our announcement.
Announcements were awesome.
One announcement. Schedule reveal coming up very soon. A lot of excitement there, and maybe a couple pre-release games leading into it. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's exciting. Everyone, I think people are gonna be geared up for the next season. Today we're talking NFL free agency review. A lot of the guys we didn't get to over the last couple of weeks now that free agency's pretty much died down. After that, we've got some fantasy spring cleaning, some players that you could trade or get off your team, and then our flashback Friday, a moment to remember from the show that I think Isaac kind of had a big hand in this one. You know, wanted to select it. He thought it was awesome. So we were playing that clip.
And I was the hand that selected it.
He was the hand that literally selected it, and we'll be playing that moment at the end of the show. So end of everything. So here we are. We'll jump right into NFL free agency review. So really briefly, in fantasy football and in free agency, we talk a lot about the studs, but it's not always about those guys. There's a lot of guys who don't always, think about it immediately, but they always find themselves in waiver wire consideration, if not rostered, on a week-to-week basis. So we do have a couple of studs in this group, but today we wanted to kind of focus on a lot of those guys we normally don't talk about and how they might fit with their new teams. So,
and one of those studs is me.
Oh, yeah. Isaac, we're not even going to get to this whole show.
One of the studs is me.
Isaac got a new mic, and he's been all geared up all afternoon.
Oh yeah.
We'll just have to deal with it. So
that and I'm watching the Duke game, and Zion's just swatting everything. That's besides the point.
Are you a Duke fan?
Oh, and he just dunked the ball. Speaking of, hey, see, he's listening to the show, you guys.
Are you a Duke fan?
I'm not really much into college basketball, but I'm a big Zion fan. I liked him since Spartanburg Day School. Shout out Spartanburg.
Isaac didn't miss a game when he was at Spartanburg Day School.
Spartanburg Day School.
He had season tickets.
Dude, I used to drive from the crap hole I live in all the way up there 2.5 hours just to watch him play some high school basketball.
What's the crap hole? What city is that?
I prefer not to say.
Okay. I was going to say, you're about to offend some people.
It's Walterboro, people. It's Walterboro. It's the, as Pat says, it's the butthole of South Carolina.
There's no one listening of Walterboro. No problem.
Bo, don't talk like that.
Bo? God, people say Bo down here. I'm like, what the hell is a Bo?
What the hell is a Bo?
Like, is that supposed to be me?
But, we're a little off the rails. Let's get back.
It's okay,
back into it. NFL free agency review. We'll go ahead and kick it off. So we'll start here with Ryan Fitzpatrick, really with the quarterbacks, and we'll kind of go by position. So Ryan Fitzpatrick traded from, or I guess signed with the Dolphins after Ryan.
Yeah, but say he was not traded.
Not traded. Ryan Tannehill was traded, signed with the Dolphins. Is he a legitimate streaming quarterback if they don't draft somebody?
Depends how desperate you are.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of way better guys than the stream. I mean, the great thing about Ryan Fitzpatrick in Tampa is he actually had weapons. Can you name a single weapon in Miami? Like anyone?
Kenny Stills.
Oh, yes. Kenny Stills. There we go.
He's Stills there.
That was awful.
Hey, football pun.
I mean, I think he's an okay streaming quarterback. If I don't know. You'd probably have to be in a pretty desperate situation, but we did see some Fitz magic last year. So
hell yeah,
he's a tough guy to count.
He left it in Tampa, so
I think he did. There's a lot of weapons there that he doesn't have in Miami, but I think he has the potential for a big game or two, but he's not a guy I would be happy as my starting quarterback, if that makes sense.
Oh no.
So we'll jump here into the running backs. Some guys got paid. I'll name them off, and then we'll kind of talk about which ones we want to talk about. Le'Veon Bell signed with the Jets. Mark Ingram signed with the Ravens. Carlos Hyde to the Chiefs, and Tevin Coleman signed a very meh deal with the 49ers. So where do you guys want to start? I mean, I know Le'Veon's
Go ahead, play that nice fancy sound drop you got
all right,
for
you
us.
want to talk about you want to
Yeah, because Bale got that.
some of the
I be
money.
yelling out money over everything, money on my mind.
And that's how Le'Veon Bell treated free agency. It was like, this is money over winning, over legacy, over everything. At least that's how it appears.
Hence why he signed with the Jets.
With the Jets, yeah.
Was it though? Because I heard that wasn't even the best offer he got, like from a financials perspective.
I heard it was. I heard it was absolutely.
No, I heard it was, but his expected deal that he wanted the year before, I mean, he didn't get it. He waited off a year and didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah.
So he kind of like settled with the best offer he could.
Yeah, it
So
wasn't
it
as
kind of
big
just
as
backfired on him.
yeah, it wasn't as big as he wanted it to be for sure. So yeah, it did backfire on him, I think. But really, I think the biggest question is where is he going to finish this year? He's a year out of football. He's on a new team. He doesn't have a Hall of Fame receiver, not a Hall of Fame quarterback. You know,
You
not
also have to
nearly.
think about that Jets O-line.
gonna
It's
say,
very porous.
Yeah, not nearly as good of an offensive line. Like, I don't think he's a top 5 running back.
Hey, I don't say that.
About the Jets.
Hey, I'm a partial Jets fan. I can say it.
I can say
Partially.
I don't think he's a top 5 running back, and he may not even be a top 10 running back, depending on what we see from some of the other guys.
I think he's on the fence of that top 10.
Yeah,
Like,
Really? I feel like you guys are overthinking this one. I mean, the guy is good. I'm really not worried about him.
We've never seen him outside of Pittsburgh. And the Pittsburgh offensive line was arguably one of the best in the league. So anybody, theoretically, with his skills will look fantastic. But this is the Jets, and Adam Gase doesn't know how to run a team.
That's where I was going with this. Adam Gase never throws the ball to the running back. I mean, you got to think of the potential of what Antonio Brown and Big Ben opened up for Le'Veon Bell. There's no one else on that team to even cover. I don't know if I'm playing the Jets. I'm putting 7 or 8 guys in the box almost every time. I'm not letting Le'Veon Bell beat me. You know, and they couldn't do that.
Well,
in Pittsburgh.
that's just we've seen teams try to stack the box against Le'Veon Bell. What makes Le'Veon Bell good is his cutback ability, his ability to hesitate right before hitting the hole and see a second avenue to hit. I still think Le'Veon Bell, you're crazy if you don't consider him a run back one.
There's not going to be a hole if the offensive line doesn't know what he's doing.
Dude, trust me. You guys you're sleeping on Bell.
I'm not trusting you. No, I'm sorry.
You're crazy.
I'm not. I mean, he's
crazy.
He's not like he's top 20. He's not going to drop that far off. But I mean, he's going to be around that 10 range. He can be at best, I feel like 8. Worst, I mean, I'm not even going to tell you my opinion, but 8 to 10 is around the realm where I think he's going to be.
Well, real quick before we move on, I mean, I don't think he's going to fall way down. I mean, I agree that with Patrick, he's definitely an RB1. But I'm just going to name some guys I would take ahead of him and why I have him so low. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley,
1,
Todd Gurley,
2,
Zeke,
3,
Alvin Kamara,
4,
James Conner in Pittsburgh,
6,
Melvin Gordon,
7.
and then David Johnson gets
8.
kind of close. And it was Nick Chubb before the whole Kareem Hunt thing. So I'm probably
I told you he's 8. I told you 8's a solid number for him. 8 to 10.
And that doesn't even include
Because arguably David Johnson could have a better season than him.
That doesn't even include Joe Mixon and Melvin Gordon, who are both very, very solid running backs.
Well, you said Melvin Gordon.
Did I say? I don't think I said Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, you said
Oh,
Melvin.
okay. So yeah, I mean, 7, 8 is where I think I've got him. I mean, you know, I don't think that's unrealistic for his situation.
A year off football, new team, shitty coach, shitty team, shitty offensive line.
I just don't like Adam Gase.
That's very...
I freaking hate Adam Gase. Like, as a man,
I do too,
as a person, as a coach.
As a man?
As a human. I'm just kidding. Not as a man. I don't know him as a man. Just as a coach.
You're challenging his integrity now.
He's not listening.
I know, for real. You're just getting personal, man.
He's not listening. It's okay. No, but I mean, yeah, I don't know.
If you are, we need to do better. I'm sorry.
Well, if he is, I'm gonna be like shocked. Like, hey, man, how'd this get to you?
I mean, yeah, I was about to say, I'm happy you're listening.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Patrick's the highest on him, but we'll see what happens. I just, wanted to talk about him briefly. Another guy, Mark Ingram. I think we all love Mark Ingram. Not a whole lot to dive into with him.
You can go ahead and skip past that one.
Yeah, a ton of opportunity there. If you got him, keep him. If you don't got him, go get him. Or trade him to Jameson. Carlos Hyde went to Kansas City.
You got no room to trade.
Yeah, well, not now. It had to be close to the draft.
Yeah, I got your ass. All right, continue.
Carlos Hyde, I don't think he's fantasy worth anything, and I don't think this hurts Damian Williams' fantasy value either.
See, Jameson's very high on Damian Williams. I'm pumping the brakes on him, like skirt, but I don't know. Carlos Hyde, I don't feel like he's gonna be the guy either. I think both of these guys are going to be a bridge guy. I really think they're going to draft somebody to take the throne from Kareem Hunt. So
yeah, I just don't trust anyone in that backfield yet. There's so much that is up in the air right now. I refuse to buy anyone right now.
Well, that's fair. I'm looking at when they re-signed him last year. Before the season was even over, I think they have a role for him. I can see them drafting someone too. So I'm not saying go out and you have to get Damian Williams, but I don't think Carlos Hyde hurts his value, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then finally, Tevin Coleman. This one is I don't even know what to do with. I'd feel bad to give anyone any advice on this because it's a mess. like it's a meh deal. McKinnon has no more guaranteed money in his contract, and they're saying that. There was rumors that he could be cut, he could be benched, he could
traded
passes or traded, and Matt Breida could run the ball, and him and Coleman could catch passes. It's a freaking mess.
And Breida's coming up on contract, so I mean that's both of those guys. So the thing I was thinking, Breida was on the team to start, and then they added McKinnon. Well, he got hurt. Breida took back over. So now Tevin Coleman steps in. So like you said, who's the guy that's supposed to do it? I mean, you really don't know, and it's time will tell. But Tevin Coleman seems to be the more talented player out of the three.
Plus he has the history with Kyle Shanahan when they were both in Atlanta.
True.
Yeah. So if you guys had to pick one today, it's a complete dart throw.
Coleman.
What about you, Pat? If you had to pick one of those guys.
Yeah.
Coleman?
Yeah, I take Coleman every day of the week.
All right, yeah, me too. So
but I still don't feel like if I have him, I'm still not happy to have him. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
This guy's riding deep on my bench.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't be mad to have him, but he wouldn't be like starting for me. I would be too worried.
Oh no! If he's your starter, man, you got
Kevin,
some issues.
we're talking to you. Do not start.
And these are all relative, right? We don't want to go into this. People think, I got to get Tevin Coleman. Like, this is all relative. Like, we like Tevin Coleman more than Matt Breida, but Tevin Coleman's still like RB 26, right? So don't overreact to something like this.
He's top 30.
I mean, he's not 30. I probably never mind. I was gonna say something, but I'll save it for later.
Yeah, just keep going.
So we got our receivers here: Adam Humphries in Tennessee.
Shout out Dorman.
Talk about a guy that got money. Hold on.
I be yelling out money over everything, money on my mind.
So he got paid.
Actually, it should be loyalty over everything because apparently the Patriots swooped in at the very end and offered him a higher contract than the Titans did, but he already agreed to the Titans, and he kept his word, even though he would have rather played for the Patriots.
Oh, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know the New England that got that ring.
Shout out, like I said, Dorman alumni.
Golden Tate to the Giants in a weird move. Devin Funchess to the Colts, which we talked a little bit about. Randall Cobb to the Cowboys, and Danny Amendola to the Lions. So we'll bounce back up to Adam Humphries. Isaac, I know you love Adam. You love Adam as a player, fantasy player. I mean, what are your thoughts on his value as a person?
That's the where it kind of takes a hit. He's one of the best slot receivers in the game, and he's going to be a security blanket for Mariota and the Titans. But fantasy wise, I mean, Mariota as a quarterback really scares me, so I'm actually staying away from him.
Yeah.
Until I see how he does in that offense with him as his quarterback.
Yeah.
But if he was back in Tampa, best believe he would be in that offense and how much we throw the ball.
Yeah.
He definitely would be a guy that you would want to target. But right now, I would kind of pump your brakes and just wait and see.
Yeah, don't go crazy after. And I saw a stat too that the Titans in the last 4 years haven't finished higher than 20th in like targets to the slot receiver. And so there's a lot of people who I think are pumping the brakes on Adam Humphries now after that kind of breakout season last year. But unfortunately, I mean, if the value's right, I mean, if he falls to the 14th round or something, and you kind of want to take a shot on a guy who's really talented, I mean, I think it might be worth a look, at that point. Those are all throwaway guys anyway, but just kind of keep him in the back of your mind. Another guy to kind of keep in the back of your mind, Golden Tate. This is a weird signing to the Giants. He plays the same role as Sterling Shepard, which is the slot role. He's aging. What is he, 32 now, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
He's up there.
He's up there. He's a volume guy.
He's been around.
Yeah, he's been around.
Do you guys remember him in Seattle? Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
Way back.
Like, that seems like such a long time ago, man. Like, it's hard to imagine that.
It's hard to fathom.
I remember I was a sophomore in college when he was playing in Seattle, and I'm 26 now, so that was 7 or 8 years ago.
God, you're an old man.
I'm an old man. Old man.
With no life doing a fantasy podcast on a Friday night.
Yeah. With a wife who somehow is understanding, so I don't know how that happened. Lucky me. But Isaac was right. Someone has to siphon away some of those OBJ targets. But I don't know. He's old. He needs volume. The same role as I don't know how I feel about him. I think kind of like Humphries, if the value is right, I might look at him. But I'm not really going out of my way to get him.
See, I would rather have Golden Tate than Adam Humphries in fantasy.
I would too.
Next year.
I would too. In fact,
I think anyone would.
What about Tate or here's a couple players. This one's easy. Tate or Calvin Ridley next season.
Ridley.
Patrick.
I mean,
don't take.
I'm going to go Ridley.
I'm
going to go Ridley because of the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I'm going Ridley. Tate or Tyler Lockett next season.
I'll go Tate.
I would go Lockett.
I'm actually going to go Tate there. That one's kind of close. Golden Tate or
like
Larry Fitz. Or Larry Fitz next season.
Tate, move him.
I'll go Fitz. I'll go Fitz.
I'm going to go
Hell no. You're crazy. Fitz was a free agent.
I think they're going to put up similar numbers.
Fitz was a free agent last year.
I think they will be very
in
close.
our league, but I think they're going to put up similar numbers, and I'd rather just go ahead and take the wide receiver one there on his team, not in fantasy.
Let's
be very clear about that statement. Let's be very clear about that statement.
Yeah, on the team.
Out, please.
On the team.
Yeah.
All right, two more. Tate or Alshon Jeffrey? I'm going to go Alshon Jeffrey.
I'm going to go Alshon. Even. Yeah.
It's very close.
Even. Tate's going to get catches. Jeffrey's going to get touchdowns.
Yeah. Deshaun Jackson scares me a little bit about Jeffrey, but I'm still going to go Jeffrey. Golden Tate or Cortland Sutton, the presumably number one in Denver.
Because I don't Flacco is quarterback.
No,
thank you.
Or dynasty.
Just for this year.
I'll go Tate.
Okay, so maybe he has more value than we thought then. So, I guess we'll see.
But, I mean, the guys you just listed, I don't really value that high either. So it's like,
well, that's what
you know
this
what I mean?
episode's about, right? The middle guys, right? The ones that everyone's kind of like, I don't know how to feel about them. This
it's on the fence type thing.
Yeah, on the fence. Gives them a little bit of insight.
Well, he said, you guys.
He's
I'm
the best average player.
he's the best guy you don't want.
He's the best guy.
That's a fair statement.
Couple of guys
You're
I feel
the
like
number one loser.
Couple of guys I feel like we can skip. Devin Funchess, I don't think he has a lot of value, but Isaac, listen, man, Isaac, listen. Don't just look past him and completely get rid of him, because Andrew Luck loves big guys in the end zone, and I wouldn't be surprised if he still catches like 7 touchdowns this season with not a lot of yards or catches, but just 7 touchdowns. I would not be surprised.
That's if he catches the ball.
If he catches, you're right. If he catches the ball, if he gets in the end zone with his giant frame,
you can throw it to somebody in the end zone. That don't mean they're going to catch it. And he's the type of person that would definitely drop the ball.
That is true. I'm not going to argue with that. So Devin Funchess, kind of like Adam Humphries' fantasy value. Look for him late, maybe if you need a red zone threat. But I'm not going out of my way. Randall Cobb with the Cowboys, not interested at all. Don't give a damn.
No.
Not at all. I'm not.
I'd put Randall Cobb at the bottom of all of the receivers we've mentioned thus far.
Yes.
I'm gonna put this next guy at the
This
very
next
bottom.
guy-
I said
this
thus
next
far.
guy.
Hang on
Yeah,
now.
no, I agree. We're all in agreement here.
This
Danny-
next guy is at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, Danny Amendola to the Lions. None of us are interested. I don't think anyone should be. Right?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
And
Yep.
and shocker, newsflash, he's another former Patriot that signed with the Lions.
They're trying to build their own Patriots team in Detroit. Absolutely.
No, the old ass like
Hold on. Patrick did the sound drop. Hold on.
Hey.
It's not gonna work. All right. So moving on here to defensive ends. That's all for the offensive players. Trey Flowers and D Ford. Trey Flowers again in Detroit. I actually like him a lot for defensive ends this season. But again, I'm not going to go out of my way to draft a defensive end really highly or anything. But if you fell to me late, I would look at him.
And shocker, yet another Patriot player on the Lions.
Yeah. D Ford, I'm not interested in D Ford. He had that one, a big breakout season. Maybe I'm biased because of the offsides penalty in the AFC Championship game that cost the Chiefs a shot at the Super Bowl. I don't know. Either way, I'm not interested in D Ford. I mean, that's not really like a deep analysis, but that's my opinion on him. Any thoughts there on you guys before we move on?
He would be average.
I just
in my
think you're being a
opinion.
jerk.
You think I'm being a jerk? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I can. I'm just joking. I'm kind of like with you guys. He's like,
Yeah.
he's kind of vanilla. You know what I mean? Like,
He's there.
He's there. He's
Yeah.
a guy. He's a jag, just a guy.
he's alive.
He's got a heartbeat. Okay, a couple
He's a
guys.
heartbeat.
Couple linebackers here. C.J. Mosley to the Jets, Quan Alexander to the Niners, and Jordan Hicks to the Cardinals. C.J. Mosley, I'll let you guys say some words. I've got him on my team, so I might be a little bit biased here.
I mean, I've already basically. I'm not gonna say it on live air, but yeah, I've already gave CJ Mosley some high praise, so I'm not gonna go back into that. But the big question for me is, with Greg Williams being their new defensive coordinator, they're gonna run the 4-3 or 3-4, and CJ Mosley's always ran that 3-4. So
Yeah.
I feel like if he does switch to a 4-3, his tackling is gonna get way better.
Yeah.
So-
Either way, I'm excited, but a 4-3, like fingers crossed for me, right?
And
Fingers
the-
crossed.
But I
another-
mean, he's been playing in a 3-4. I mean,
I just
do you
want to
guys think
say
it hurts his value anymore? I know. I'm Jameson just made it seem like
no.
he was gonna value him less.
Well, he
based
No,
on-
no, I'm not gonna
prefers
value him
4-3
less.
middle linebackers. That's
Yeah,
why.
I do. I mean, based
Yeah,
on our
most
analysis,
people do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, based on the analysis we've started doing, it looks like 4-3s are more valuable. But I'm gonna be okay either way.
Don't listen to him. He's just setting you guys up.
I'm just setting you guys
He's
up.
just saying
Actually, CJ Mosley doesn't even exist. He's not a real player.
he doesn't.
Another thing I'm kind of interested to see is Avery Williamson, the guy that they paid some big bucks to last year,
Last year, yeah.
who had a solid fantasy season for me. I don't know if anybody else picked him up in the other league. Where does he go? What's his role? So that'll be very interesting to see if they do keep it at 3-4. Obviously, he'll be right next to CJ Mosley, but if he's not, does he go to the weak side or what?
If he goes to the outside in a 4-3, I think he's less valuable than in the middle with CJ in a 3-4. I think.
I don't really see him as an outside linebacker in a 4-3 as much.
I could really see him traded, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's
That's
exactly what
possibility.
I see happening if that happens.
Yeah.
Especially with this next guy and the hold that he left.
Yeah, Quan in San Francisco. This is a guy I would be very excited about if I still had him. Isaac, I know you're heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. I had to get rid of him. But he's going to be a monster again.
Yeah, man. I don't want to talk about it. Move on.
Well, here's a question for you, Isaac. What do you see Tampa doing now with Quan gone?
Devin White.
Well, we did, like I said, we signed a Dayon Buchanan. Is the correct pronunciation of his name? I thought, because he's a hybrid safety and he has played safety for the Cardinals. Supposedly, he's going to be the new inside linebacker. And they got Kevin Minter, who was another guy under Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles. So my biggest thing is, do we get Devin White with that 5th pick?
That's what
Or
I'm thinking.
Do we get
I see
an
you guys.
edge rusher and get like a Montez Sweat and just roll with speed, which is something that Bruce Arians is known for, and on his teams is just speed and hard hitting.
And that's kind of what I'm envisioning. You guys either getting an edge rusher with your first pick, or a guy like White, who's going to be a great inside linebacker.
Absolutely. If we get White, I'll be ecstatic. I mean, the loss of Quan Alexander would be much less significant to me if we get a younger,
sure.
faster, stronger, healthier.
If they get Devin White, he shoots way up my rookie board and what I'm willing to give up for him in that Quan role.
And some people, I'm sure there's some people listening that are thinking that seems kind of crazy that they would draft another middle linebacker considering what's already on the roster. But I can think of plenty of teams that have done this in the past where they have ended up drafting a young stud linebacker, even though they felt like they already had depth there. Perfect example, look at the Carolina Panthers when they drafted Luke Kuechly. At the time, John Beeson was generally considered across the league as one of the best middle linebackers in the game. Yet they went on Luke and parted ways with Beeson because of the injury history.
Yeah, it turned out well.
And like I said, we're supposed to switch to a 3-4, so we're going to need 2 middle linebackers.
Yep.
Right.
Cool.
So, and the LSU runs that 3-4 defense, so that's an easy fit for him.
Yeah, looking good for White, looking good for Tampa, looking good for Quan, all the way around. Jordan Hicks, not a lot here. I think he's a very competent linebacker. I think he can get a lot of tackles if he's healthy. That's the biggest thing, though, if he's healthy. I think he's probably a middle round guy that hopefully I can get back, but we'll see what happens with him. Just keep an eye on him. All right, DBs here. Landon Collins, Landon Collins to the Redskins, Clinton Dix to the Bears, Adrian Amos to the Packers, Tyrann Mathieu to the Chiefs, and Earl Thomas to the Ravens. Really quickly, Landon Collins, I still think he's a top 5 defensive back in Washington. No concerns for me at all.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I'm with you.
I just traded him, so unfortunately, I was kind of forced to my hand, but it kind of worked out for me. But yeah, that was just my question I put on here: is he still considered a top 5 safety? Yeah. When you go and look at the other options, it's not many people are better than he is. So yeah, I think it's still solidified as a top 5.
Clinton Dix to Chicago. We saw a lot of Chicago DBs be very successful in fantasy last season. So I think he's still probably I think he's definitely a top 20 DB going in next year. I
think his stock went up though from where it was last year.
Yeah, that's absolutely possible. Adrian Amos switched from Chicago to Green Bay. So for some reason they would rather let trade him and then pay Amos. Not sure why. But
instead of trying to re-sign who already knew their system and everything else, so maybe it was a personnel issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think Amos has some value though. I'm not going to go way up the board for him unless he falls to me. But I could easily see him a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah, he's a great backup DB in pretty much most scoring formats for IDP.
He could be a DB2 or DB3.
Yeah.
That's where he's going to be.
I see more like 3. Yeah, that's kind of where I view him.
But there would probably be games where he will, outperform that DB3. Like I said, his high would be a DB2.
Right.
He's never going to put up DB1 numbers.
No.
Oh, no.
Tyrann Mathieu to the Chiefs. I love this signing. Eric Berry's gone. Tyrann Mathieu's a very competent safety. He's been very valuable in fantasy, and he's a guy that I am desperately going to try to trade for once the season gets closer. I love Tyrann Mathieu on that team, on the defense. So he should shoot upwards.
It's all staged. He's cheating with his brother.
Yeah, we're in cahoots actually in the same division. So he's just gonna let me win forever. Yeah. That's what he told
me. I mean, he just got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I gave up Andrew Luck though, and a pick.
Collusion. No, I'm just kidding.
A very, very, very good fantasy quarterback and a pick. Earl Thomas to the Ravens. I did not like Earl Thomas a whole lot until he went to Baltimore to play in that Eric Weddle role, and now I'm a little more on board with him. I'm not going to overpay for him, but I'm a little more on board with him than I was before he signed there.
This signing would have meant way more to me 5 years ago, but it is 2019, and Earl Thomas is walking around with a cane and his middle finger at the air. No, I could care less about Earl Thomas regardless of where he's at.
Oh, God. Patrick's the cynic. That's all right. We'll see what happens with him, but no, that's fair. He definitely is old and beat up. Yes, that's it for the free agents that we wanted to talk about. Take all of that with a grain of salt, and just kind of keep an eye on those guys as the draft approaches. So Isaac, we'll let you take us into spring cleaning, where each of us have 2 players that we would either trade
Don't
or
be
release.
telling them what my segment's about. I got this.
Sorry, man. All right, go ahead,
right.
kick it off.
So we're all going to talk about one player that we would feel comfortable trading away and one player that we would feel comfortable dropping. We're thinking dynasty value and people that we're trying to consider their age, contract, performance, consistency, a team scheme, etc. So to start off, my first guy is a trade guy. It's Kiko Alonso, the Dolphins linebacker. He finished 8th. Well, his career is riddled with injuries. I mean, he's been very talented, but it's when he's on the field, he's talented. And that's just another sob story that you find out with these NFL players that have so much talent. It's they can't stay healthy, and he's one of them. I mean, he's going to turn 29 in the 2019 season. He's going to be a free agent in 2021 at the age of 30. So if I got him, I'm going to try to sell him while his stock's at his peak, especially since he finished 8th. So have that as your selling point, because it's never going to happen again.
So I agree. And if anyone listens to the show, you'll know that me and Isaac don't always see eye to eye on everything, perfectly. And that might be underselling it. But I agree with this 100%. I am not on board with Kiko Alonso. He's older. He had one good season in fantasy. I mean, he's always been solid in his career. But I'm with Isaac. I mean, his value is really high right now. Trade him to a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. So
let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
Kiko Alonso, Joe Schobert. Which one do you like?
Joe Schobert.
Joe Schobert, because Mosley did not go to Cleveland. Yeah. Next. That's easy. Give me a hard one.
Well, here's the thing, though.
We're not going to play a million questions right now.
Well, here's the thing, though. There are people in this league, guarantee you, that will value Kiko more than Joe Schobert. Dude, people in general in most IDP leagues
they sleep on Joe Schobert.
Yeah, they sleep on him, man. And he is a very consistent – I'm not saying he's great. No, he's not. But he is a very consistent linebacker who doesn't fluctuate. He's right there. You know what I mean?
This is not a Joe Schobert segment, though.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there
when we talk about it.
So Isaac, do you want to go through all the trades? Like, I'd say my trade, Pat does, and then we go back to the release? Or do you
we can, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
We go ahead.
All right. I was really excited. So I wanted to talk about this guy earlier because I hate him in fantasy. I want you guys to know who I hate in fantasy. It's Derrick Henry. It's not Mr. Trubisky. It was almost Mr. Trubisky. So Derrick Henry, trade him. His value is super high. Finished 15th in running backs last season. 4 of his last 6 games, of 6 games of 20 points plus in our league, were in the last 4 weeks of the season. So before that, he had done nothing. He was held under 20 points in 10 of his 16 games last year. Dion Lewis was signed last year and still going to be a part of the offense. He had a few good games in the playoffs, but this is a career underachieving fantasy running back on a team with a new offensive coordinator. He's an RB3 that likely won't be probably in that Tevin Coleman range when the season starts, in my opinion, 25 to 30. And I'm not interested. I mean, if I had Derrick Henry right now, I'm trading him. I'm the first person that makes me an offer. I'm trading him away.
Yeah, I mean,
could you even trade him though? That is my question.
Your selling point is the last 4 weeks he had really good, so you can say he's building momentum into the next season. That's it.
People have a and this is across everything, not just fantasy, a recency bias. They're like, he turned it on. He's a good running back. They finally know to give the ball to him. Blah 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 blah. Whatever you have to tell someone, tell them, but get rid of him because this is not going to keep happening. But that's what I would rely on though is his playoff performance to trade him. But yeah.
All right, Pat, who's your guy?
So my guy is a guy who's owned in both conferences. That's Jared Davis.
It's actually Gerard.
I say Jared, leave me alone. He's a middle linebacker in Detroit. Pretty young guy, but he finished 24th among linebackers. That is very far back. I mean, borderline LB3 at that point. His average was consistently around 27 points per game in our league, and that's been the past 2 years. In my opinion, if you're not getting 30 plus in our format, then you really shouldn't even be considering him as a legitimate starter. Still young, 24, like I said. But his value can go up from here. It's just we got to see more out of him. If things don't get better soon, I don't see any point of you having him on your roster. If I have Jared Davis, I'm trying to trade him for something kind of cheap. You're not going to get a lot for him. No one in the right mind is going to pay you premium price for this guy. Even people that are fans of him aren't going to pay a lot for him. But it's
Are you
better
trying to
than
say Billy's going to overpay for him because he's a Lions player?
I just thought it's so funny you said that. 'Cause I was like,
No.
Billy might take him.
I would guarantee you even Billy wouldn't give up a lot for him. And if he would, he'd be crazy because, again, he finished 24th. All right. I mean, dude, we have seen way more explosive players who were rookies this past year. So,
he's a solid
trade
bench
him,
player.
but don't expect a lot. Yeah.
And it's really disappointing because I remember his rookie draft. I wanted him so bad, and Patrick got him.
Oh, I got him in our rookie
Yeah, you
draft.
got him.
I was so pumped. I was like, yeah, it's my guy. Like,
Joke's on
like
you.
how I felt about Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the joke was on me, man. Like, the next year, what round did he get drafted in our league? Like, round 8
or something like that.
9, something crazy? Yeah.
So this is Patrick after his rookie season, after he drafted him. All right, bud.
Exactly. No surprise I missed the playoffs that year, too. So.
And because I put you out.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Don't forget that aspect.
All
right, so we're
back.
going to go back to our release players. So these are guys that we're feel comfortable just dropping right away. And my guy is Eric Ebron, the Colts tight end. He finished 19th. I mean, he was complete bust for the Lions for 4 years when he was the number 1 tight end in that aerial assault offense. I mean, just ask Billy. I mean, he was garbage for the Lions. Jack Doyle's going to be back next year. So all those touchdowns that Ebron caught that made him fantasy relevant last year are going to go down. I mean, it's not going to happen again. He's going to be a free agent in 2020, so his future's kind of uncertain. He's still semi-young, usually like 26, 27, so he's still got a couple more years. But I'm just not a big fan of him. There's plenty more options that you can go to. I would rather have Golden Tate, Calvin Ridley, any of those guys that we talked about earlier than this guy. So release him.
Yeah, I think he's even younger. I think he's like 25. But I agree. I don't think I mean, he definitely is going to regress. Devin Funk, just like we talked about, could siphon some red zone targets. Jack Doyle's back. And you're right, Isaac. There was definitely a lot of regressions for touchdowns, and that's what made him valuable. He caught 14 or 15 touchdowns last season, 16 touchdowns, which is unreal for a tight end, especially a guy like Eric Ebron. So yeah, I agree. There's going to be a lot of regression, and he's not going to be valuable in our league at all.
Yeah, and he's 25 years old.
25.
So he's still got plenty of football ahead of him, but
not on my fantasy team.
Not on yours.
So my guy I've got here for my release player. Oh, Pat, did you want to say anything? I just kind of skipped right over you.
No. I was good with that.
You're like, whatever. Ebron sucks. I've got Damon Snacks Harrison as my guy.
It's Damon.
To what?
It's Damon.
Oh, Damon. Sorry, like Dion.
It's
Dayon.
Damon. Gerard.
So Snacks finished. He's the defensive tackle for the Lions. He finished 5th in defensive lineman last season, which is insane. But he finished outside the top 10 in average points per game. With all the new depth at DE, the new linebacker rules, I don't know how many times I'm gonna say it in the offseason. I don't value defensive ends at all. The Lions are likely going to draft a guy like a Montez Sweat or someone along those lines,
He's not going to make it that far.
Montez Sweat will make it to 8. You don't think he'll make it to 8? He might. I think he could.
I think he's going to go 7 or before. I really think that they're going to have to go settle with somebody like the Burns guy from Florida State or Cleveland Farrell from Clemson.
Yeah.
They're going to have to settle. Yeah.
I think they'll get a defensive
because I really think – because, I mean, this guy's a physical specimen. Like James already talked about in an earlier episode. I mean, they were kind of worried with his heart condition, but the way he performed at his pro day, along with his combine, along with his college tape, I feel like his stock is really rising.
All right, Isaac, it's not a Montez Sweat episode. God, Isaac, we have plenty of time for that. No, but you're right. He definitely
Sorry.
could. He definitely could. Either way, they'll get a defensive lineman, which will eat into Snacks Harrison's opportunity. Boom.
Boom.
I don't have a rim shot sound drop. I didn't put it on the soundboard.
Rim shot.
He is a 30-year-old defensive lineman pushing for a new contract after that season, and I don't think he's going to replicate the results. Don't worry about keeping him. I know someone in our league may have that thought in their head. Just get rid of him. No point.
Jade, don't keep him.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has to worry about Jade keeping this guy. Like, I don't think anyone in our league will keep this guy.
I hope not.
All right, well, that's easy.
All right,
so
Pat.
Who's your guy, Pat?
No, my guy, it's probably a much bigger name, but a guy you should think even less of, in my opinion, and that is, and let me hold this back. If anyone's listening outside of our league, let me adjust this statement a little bit, but Carlos Dunlap is my guy that you should be releasing. He finished 14th among defensive ends. Defensive ends, let me mind you, which is ridiculous. 10-year veteran with 10 games where he scored under 20 points in our league. That is pretty low for a defensive end based off our scoring system. 12-round keeper for Tyler, 10th for Michael. So cheap, but at the same time, dude, with our rule changes, there's no reason again you should be considering Carlos Dunlap when you could potentially be putting a guy like Von Miller as your defensive end in our league.
Or Chubb.
Yeah.
That was just for James.
That was just for me. I knew it when you said it. I was like, he's saying that just to get me to laugh.
Clowney, TJ Watt. There's plenty of guys that we would rather have in front of him. And by the way, breaking news: Duke just won.
Oh wow! Probably not breaking news for anyone listening.
No,
though. By the time they're watching, it's been done for a couple of days.
Nope. But breaking news for me.
Anyways, like I said earlier, Tyler and Michael are the two teams that have him. Anyone surprised that the two teams that do have this guy missed the playoffs last year? So if you have him this year, you must be pretty desperate to consider a defensive end, again, who finished 14th. That's not even factoring in defensive tackles. That is shameful if you're a quote-unquote all-pro defensive end. I just don't see how you can value this man as a defensive or a DL1 in our current league format and everything. If you're outside of our league, I kind of consider him as like a good middle of the road defensive lineman too. That's kind of where I value him in ours. He's more of like a DL3 based off everything. So if you have three defensive linemen, you're doing something wrong. Please don't let that happen. But yeah.
Yeah, theoretically, everyone should have one defensive lineman, maybe two if it's a bye week. So at the very worst you're ever going to have is DL 24 on your line. And that's the worst possible situation. So to have a DL 3 just doesn't make any sense. And you're definitely not in good shape if that's happening. So I agree. But yeah, guys, that's a good show. That's a really good show. A lot of fantasy value I think we had in that episode.
And if you don't like our show, screw you.
Well, that's a little harsh. I mean, they made it to the end. They made it to the end of the episode. I mean, I feel like they had to at least.
I said if they don't like it. If you guys liked it, then
I will say,
let us know.
If you didn't like it, you've listened this far, you must subliminally actually like this show by listening to it this long. So,
or you left it playing and forgot it was playing. Either one.
Either way, we're glad to have you here. So,
yeah.
But real quick,
all right, Pat. So close out with our Flashback Friday.
Yeah, man.
That's right. It is our hashtag Flashback Friday. So moments to remember from the podcast. This was originally kind of scripted to be for the month, but this is we're digging pretty deep with this. Jameson and Isaac can both vouch. They were the ones who dug through the archives of all these episodes to find this one
I just
moment.
randomly picked one, and it was the right one.
Yeah, Isaac got really lucky. He should be playing the lottery tonight. Well, Jameson, on the other hand, how many hours did you spend looking for this,
Like
Jameson?
2 freaking hours, man. Looking for this stupid. It's literally like a 4-second clip out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of minutes of podcasting that we've done.
And I found it within 2 or 3 minutes.
It's so stupid. So stupid. But
But anyway, play this sound clip for
yes,
everybody.
this is our moment to remember.
This is the moment to remember.
We're gonna have more of these in the future. This is to kick off this segment. So here we go.
And it was one hell of a bloodbath with abortion clinic. No pun intended.
So that was.
Oh my god, dude! So when I first heard this, I was at work listening to the podcast, like somebody's supposed to do. Anyway,
yeah.
I burst out laughing when I heard him say, "This is going to be a bloodbath," and he's talking about abortion clinic. Like, oh my god, the paths the lines that you're not supposed to cross, you just crossed.
It was so incidental too. You didn't even mean it at all. You just happened to.
No, didn't mean to. And those new owners in the league who. They're probably not even registering that the name. That was the name of an old team in our league, Abortion Clinic. He was playing. I forget who he was playing against, but wasn't even trying to come up with a joke there about talking about a bloodbath involving Abortion Clinic.
It worked out. Fell right.
It worked out pretty good.
I think it was Daquan.
I think it was. Yeah.
It may have been. I'm not sure, but
or Daquan.
But yeah.
Daquan. Yeah, so if there's anyone who has any great moments, because Isaac liked that one, so he wanted to play that. If there's anyone that has any great moments from the show they want us to play again for this segment, let us know.
Go find it first and then let us know.
That would be helpful, but I would be willing to go find it if you can tell me what it was.
No, guys, please just help him out, because then he's going to spend another 2 hours trying to find it when you guys could probably find it in 5 minutes or less.
But yeah, that's just a fun memory to play back. I thought that was fun, but we'll do more of that segment here in the future. So, but guys, that's it. It's another successful show. A lot of fantasy value we feel like we brought to you guys, hopefully this week. And I can't remember off the top of my head what we've got going on next week, but so it'll just be a surprise for all of us. So,
all right, but I want to close out with this. Speaking of Abortion Clinic, he no longer is in our league, like Pat said. He's been officially replaced by OB, my boy. Top shotters, hide your kids, hide your wife, because the black kneecapper is coming for you.
All right. Well, good luck. Good luck, OB. And good luck to everybody. And we'll see you on next week's show. Bye.
Peace.
See ya.
Pat's gay.
Yo, mama. Got him.